Let's make some lemonade out of lemons. This 3D printed Scout Trooper helmet fell and cracked. I glued it back together, but I know it's not going to be useful to turn into a real helmet. I decided to make it into a diorama. If you saw my short about a month ago, I made one using a helmet that I printed half scale, and it came out pretty good and I was happy with it. So I decided, well, let's do it with the full scale, being I had this one sitting on the shelf that I haven't done anything with. So I start by just painting the inside of the helmet blue. This is because it's going to be a indoor scene and I want to have like a blue sky in the background when I light it up. Then I took these trees and other material I got from the hobby store to make bushes, and I just start gluing them in place. I only have black hot glue at the time, and so I'm trying to be very careful to hide where I'm gluing behind everything so you don't see the hot glue when you look in. Trying to find a way to hold the helmet while I was working was kind of a pain. I had bought this light and I realized after I opened it, it's missing a piece that's required for the batteries to actually work. So I decided that I'm gonna go ahead and glue it in place. I'm gonna cut the battery compartment off and I'm gonna hook it up to, I'll just find another battery compartment. It only needs 2 AA or 2 AAA batteries to work. So I just kind of stuff it in the back and I start gluing more trees in front of it. There was no method to this, like most of the things that I do. I just come up with an idea and I start going with it. My office is a mess right now. I'm trying to get ready for San Diego Comic-Con and also working on my wife's studio for her channel. That's coming along, but it's taken a lot of time away from working on stuff for myself. Here I just take some foam core board and I took a pencil and sketched out what the inside of the helmet looks like. So I popped that out. I could have cut through a little better. You'll see it has a little piece of paper still on the back side that I didn't get. And then I'm just going to cut a little V-notch here for the wire. And it pops and holds in place. Once I get it where I want it, I'm going to hot glue it to keep it from moving. I had to do a little trimming on the front so that I could close the helmet, but you can see that it closes and there's enough of a gap that it's not going to run into anything. Now I'll take my favorite foam clay and I'm just going to basically create a ground floor here on the inside of the helmet. Hindsight, I should have did this first, but I did it the other way because I figured it would be difficult to glue the trees in if I had the ground in. So it was pick your evil. I decided to do the trees first. This is a black foam clay. I'm just trying to make sure that the hole isn't covered for the wire. And here's who's going to go inside the diorama. This is a 1990s Power of the Force speeder bike with Scout Trooper. This is one of those ones where if you hit a button, you can make it actually explode. I'm not worried about that. I just want to make sure it fits. Should have probably done this before I started, because it fits, but just barely. There's very little room between the nose of the bike and the front of the helmet when it's fully closed. And then I mixed up some brown paints, and you can see here I just painting on the brown paint, and then I'm laying it a little thick, and I'm actually going to use it as a glue to hold down some of the foliage material. I actually made a little rock there in the back. That's where the speeder bike is going to sit on top of. With the exception of the foliage in the trees, which were bought for the little mini helmet, none of this stuff is new. This is all stuff that I've had. I've had that Power of the Force figure for who knows how long. If you're going to paint the foam clay, you should always let it dry at least 3 to 4 hours so that a skin forms. Otherwise, it just doesn't adhere to the foam very well. Here I have a light that I got from my local Harbor Freight. If you're one of the Inside Track members, you get one of these free every once in a while when you go in. So I took a magnet and I glued it into the top of the helmet. The light has a magnet on it as well, so I can take the light out when I'm not using it, and the magnet just stays up there in the top. The reason I did this is I never wired up the lights that I put in the back, because when I tested them, they just weren't bright enough. I could wire them up and they'll add a little bit of extra detail in the future, but for now I'm probably going to leave it as is. And all this was not counting the printing and painting of the helmet, which was done way beforehand and just sitting off to the side. This was only about a 2.5 hour project for me total. Maybe closer to 3, because I was waiting on a skin to form on the foam clay. Definitely, if you're going to do this, allow some time for the clay to dry even more, because it's still soft at this point, and I probably fought to get my character to stay in one position. And the last thing to do is to actually attach the front mask. Just a tiny bit of super glue on the hinges is all you need. You just need to make sure you turn the outside and the inside properly so that they line up. Otherwise, it'll look a little weird and not actually be flush. But with that, this was a pretty fun project to do. You know, just a few hours of my time in between trying to get a bunch of stuff done for my wife and for Comic-Con. Hopefully I get some inspiration while I'm in San Diego, and look forward to seeing some good stuff and putting out some shorts to let you guys see what I'm seeing while I'm there. And with that, I'm going to show you some shots of the finished product. Thanks for watching.